Hey, this is Luke with another Android Guys podcast. I'm here with Scott.
Hi, Luke. How are you?
All right, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
You have an app to talk about today.
Yeah, I've got a game that I've been playing
What
for the last week or so.
What is it?
It's called Scavenger Hunt.
Okay,
Okay, so if you look that up in the Play Store, you're going to find a lot of results.
sure.
This is from a developer known as Popcorn Games.
Ah,
Yes,
I'm familiar.
this was presented to me as an ad
Okay.
in another game somewhere along the line.
Uh-huh.
And I think you've also reviewed
Yeah, they had
popcorn
a parking game where it was
Yes.
like a parking puzzle. You had to move cars in and out of a parking lot.
Yep, that's them. I was
All right.
looking them up in the Play Store, and that is the developer.
Nice.
So, this is two looks at the same developer. So, I'll be curious to see. I'm going to try to look back while we're talking here to see what you scored that game. Parking Jam 3D.
Not great. I did
yeah?
not give it high remarks.
Okay, I'm looking. You gave it a 2.6.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give it a little bit of a higher score,
Okay.
but it's also qualified based off of my own personal
Sure.
liking of the game.
Okay.
It's okay, so it's a lot like the like Where's Waldo kind of game.
Yeah. Okay.
So imagine flipping open a Where's Waldo book and only seeing like maybe a fourth or a fifth of the page,
Okay.
and you have to start looking for different items throughout that scene.
Mhm.
Maybe you're at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And among all the stuff that you would have on this beach, you have people, but then you might have things like a comb or a shovel or a bucket or a crab,
Mm-hmm.
different things like that that are kind of sprinkled throughout.
Right.
You'll have a little list across the bottom of the items to find. And then once you hit, like, say, maybe 50 items, it unlocks another part of that map, and you can start to
Oh.
explore a little bit more of it.
Okay.
And you can keep a tally of what you've found.
Uh-huh.
You'll know, okay, there are 4 of these. I have 2 of them so far. I'm still trying to find the other 2. You can usually tell pretty quickly what's out of place. Things that
Yeah.
are just randomly laying there, like, oh, that palette of paint,
Mhm.
or that easel or whatever sitting there, or this pair of headphones that's just laying in the middle of the sidewalk.
Right, right.
Obviously don't belong there. So you can find that stuff pretty easily without having to figure out what is my list to work from.
Uh-huh.
But then some things start to, gets to be a little bit more difficult. You hit 100 items and it opens up another part of the map. And then, next thing you know, you're looking for about 170 things.
Oh, wow.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's my jam. I love stuff like this.
Yeah.
I love Where's Waldo. I love
Sure.
those hidden things books.
Yeah, it's like the magic eye kind of things, or
Yeah, what were they? Magic Eye was a 3D kind of thing, right?
yeah,
To stare at.
yeah.
But there was a whole series of these books that you would open and be like, "Oh, this is a shop."
Yeah, it's like an I Spy book or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
Okay.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I love games that are, something that will pull me in. I can play for a few minutes and walk away from it.
Sure.
If I want to continue to work on this puzzle, figure out what's going on, 2 minutes at a time, that's cool. Or if I have 40 minutes while I'm sitting here just kind of passively hanging out in the living room while something's on the TV.
Sure.
The problem that you run into is the not the notifications, the ads.
Oh,
There are tons of them.
yeah.
And at first I thought it was based off of, like, I was quickly finding all of these things. I would say, oh, here, I'd go through and I'd tap 4, 5, 6 things, and then I would get an ad would kind of come up and play
Right.
on the screen, and I would have to sit through like a 15-second ad. Most of them you can kind of click through if you don't want to wait through. That's not so bad. I don't mind having that. Some of them have sound, some of them you can mute. It's nothing crazy. I mean, whatever ad partner they're using, that's just how they're filling it.
Sure.
But what I found was it's not after finding every so many items. It's kind of like on an automatic timer.
So no matter how many you find, if the screen sits idle for X amount of time, just an ad pops up.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like truly idle where you're not touching and
So
dragging
you could be
around.
actively panning around and it'll just pop up an ad.
It just fades out into white and then displays an ad.
Ugh.
To the tune of about 1 every 60 to 90 seconds.
Oh, yuck.
And when you're trying to find things,
it
pulls you out of it. Now it takes you right back into exactly where you were.
Okay.
So you don't have to kind of reset.
That's a little less egregious.
But there are times where I will have an ad pop up. You know, if I get down to like the last 3 items out of 172, I'm slowly, meticulously scrolling, trying to find this flower that might be hidden behind somebody or half sticking out of something.
Right, or in the outline of a different item. Or,
yes.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, and you'll get 2, 3, 4 ads before you find that item.
Yikes.
It sucks, dude.
Yeah. So is there a way, can you purchase like an ad-free version?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second.
Okay. I
don't mind if a developer does the ads,
sure,
you know, after a level or after, say, 25 finds.
Free-to-play games it's kind of pretty standard now.
On top of all of that, you also have an ad that displays across the bottom of the screen the entire time.
Persistent
bottom little banner ad.
Oh my gosh.
So you will constantly have advertisement. I was reluctant, or am still reluctant, to pay to unlock the game.
Yeah.
It's $5, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
If I can get rid of every ad ever again,
right,
after a week of playing this game, hours literally, I would have gladly, I think, paid $5 to make all that go away.
Sure.
I don't know how much more I will continue to play the game,
right,
just because of time,
right,
and whether or not I, continue to enjoy the game. But it's a cool game. It has, to me, a very high replay value, not just because of the screens, because you have a lot of different, what do you call them, environments to kind of look through. The drawings are cool. They're cute. They're, nothing crazy. Kind of reminds me, I don't know if this might date me. It might even put me a little bit older than you. Do you remember the Sweet Pickles books?
I do.
Okay. So in the binding of those, or in the back and the front pages of those, they have, like, maps of the city.
Yep.
That's that kind of drawing.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at screenshots in the App Store now, and the art style is really nice.
Yeah, and you'll have things moving. So sometimes people will be kind of hopping in place.
Oh, okay.
Or a bird will kind of fly back and forth in a small area. Balloons will kind of float and hover. So you have things that kind of move, clouds. So there is a lot of, distraction.
Sure.
It's a cool game, and I think it's got a really high replay value because there are a lot of different maps, and you can go back. And I don't know what the difference was from level 1 to level 2. I thought it would give me different items to find on a map. I've unlocked like 5 or 6 maps. It had me go through and find the exact same items.
Interesting.
And it didn't have it in like any. Didn't seem to be anything different. Now they also have some daily challenges you can do.
Okay.
There are some things where you kind of have to like beat the clock, find so many.
Oh, okay.
Like thieves, for instance, they have these little robbers that look like bandits they look like the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
With the black and white stripes and hats. You have to find like 40 of them in a map inside of so many minutes.
Okay.
So if you can beat these challenges, you get, I don't know what you get after so many of them. I haven't done those yet.
Okay.
Now there's also some other just random challenges, not the daily, but then there are other like kind of like tasks that you can do.
Okay.
And then there's also other versions of games to play on the same map where you're doing like pairs, where there are 2 of everything. Instead of like say 6, you have to find 2 of.
Okay.
And that's cool to me. I think it's the kind of game, like, literally I will sit there and play for a half hour, 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, because it's kind of mindless almost.
Yeah.
You're looking through, you have to kind of look and pay attention, but it's not very hard thinking.
I listen to a podcast or an audiobook when I do it. It's a perfect way for me to listen to something.
Sure.
Listen to it and also kind of tune into something else, do two things at once.
Sure.
Same thing as, to me, it scratches the same itch as putting together Lego.
Yeah.
Or doing jigsaw puzzles.
Sure. Yeah.
So the replay value on this is really high for me.
Okay.
Graphics, not so bad. Audio is really just kind of average.
Okay.
There's not really audio to speak of.
Uh-huh.
The ads and notifications is what really drags it down.
Sure.
But generally speaking, I as an average, it came to a 3.5.
That's not bad at all.
It's
really
not bad. And the more I play it, that's like I said, I'm kind of weighing on, like, do I just throw $5 on it and get rid of the ads?
Right.
As I think about it, I probably will,
Mm-hmm.
just because at least in the short term, I'll continue to spend more time with it.
Right.
And if I can do away with seeing these same ads over and over,
I
might do that. So if I'm doing like a half hour, I might see 30 ads pop up.
It's just too much.
It is. And so I'm going to be more cautious moving forward now that we've done 2 games from Popcore. There's, a billion trillion games and apps out there to choose from. But I think this kind of speaks to how we find our games.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of land on our lap and we say, oh, that looks interesting, the screenshots or the premise or something like that. So it also has me curious as to see if somebody else does a version of this game better.
Sure.
And maybe not as offensive with the ads.
So there is something that comes to mind. The game Two Dots. You remember that puzzle game?
Of course.
So they came out with a newer version in the last couple years of that game, and they added a scavenger hunt feature into that. It's like a different level, kind of like you do so many of the dot puzzles, and then you do a scavenger hunt or a I Spy kind of thing.
Okay.
And it sounded similar as far as like, you have to find 6 of these buckets and 7 of these birds or know, something like that. And it's all really fun design, and you scroll around a really big looking map, but you don't unlock. It's slightly different because you don't unlock sections like you do in this game. It's just one big map that you scroll around. So to me, it seemed a little daunting because I just had so much to look at to find a couple things. So I like the idea how this game maybe just unlocks snippets at a time, a little bit more manageable. But yeah, that's I'd be interested to see how different of an experience it is if you pay for the ad free and then play it.
Right?
Is it better? Or is it worse maybe because you don't have the breakup of an ad? Does it get boring faster?
Sure.
Or something?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's Scavenger Hunt is just the name of it?
Mm-hmm. Scavenger Hunt by Popcore Games.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Scott.
Thank you. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, feedback, concerns, comments, anything, shoot us an email at podcast@AndroidGuys.com. We'd love to hear from you one way or the other. Luke, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at Luke Gaul, Gaul.
And I'm on Instagram at Scott Webster and Twitter as SWebster77. Until next time, thanks for listening.
See ya.